Hello and welcome, everybody. I'm joined by the victorious head coach of FlyQuest here, Mr. Nukeduck himself, the mid lane extraordinaire back in the day. I want to talk about it. I think a lot of people had you losing against Cloud9 this series. When it comes to prepping for a team like that, and when it comes to, I guess this split, a lot of people kind of had TL, C9, and FlyQuest as like their 1, 2, 3. Did you ever perceive that there was that big of a gap between you and Cloud9, and kind of what is the prep going into this series now that it's a best of 5 rather than it's a best of 3?
Yeah, so people had us losing because we obviously lost last time we played them 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
We were very prepped on C9. Of course, our staff have watched. We have scrimmed them a lot, and our staff. We have like kind of like a big staff. So I have Miffy as my assistant coach, and I have Arrow as my bot lane ADC coach, and we're all 3 there. And we also have 2 remote analysts. So the whole staff pretty much watched like almost all their games, so we really know how they play. And the way the C9 plays is just they farm and then they team fight and they hope they outscale you. In my personal, I think C9 strategy isn't very good. I feel like they're all about like hands, and we failed to execute our game plan versus them last time we played them. I didn't feel like they played well against us last time, and a loss is always easier for us to like hammer down like what we want to do. So yeah, I think it's we knew really well what they wanted to do, and we managed to like execute like our own win condition this time around. Even though like the first 3 games were very messy, and then so we obviously made mistakes, but we adjusted well. So yeah, I was confident. I didn't. I thought if we execute our strategies, we're gonna win.
And part of those strategies, kind of hinged a lot on your rookie mid laner coming in this split. He had a phenomenal series. A lot of the carry onus was on him, right? You put a lot of the smolder games onto him. You said, hey, like if this gets late, we've got to kind of win with this. What is that like for you as obviously a former mid laner, and then having a new guy, a split coming in, rookie, like putting that onus on him? How has Quad been like adjusting to that? Because his role was never going to be similar to Jensen's. He was expected to elevate and be a carry presence in this team. How has he adjusted, and like what is the strategy behind that? Because you are going up against C9, who have Jojopun, probably one of the better mid laners in the league.
Yeah. So, well, I would say the way he played and this series, he played very well. But I will also say that he played Jensen and him play like in a similar way against C9. Like I would say like yeah, I wouldn't take too much away from Jensen. He also like he could do that job. But yeah, Quad, he's just very, very solid, and he doesn't really make like big mistakes. Like, and he's also like he's just very good mechanically. So it's easy for him to carry late game. He can also play early game, which is like what you see in the 4th game. We pivoted and he counter pick mid. And he can do that as well. So like he's just flexible like that, and he can play like a lot of champions. Like we haven't even like used his Cassio yet. He used to be a Cassio 1 trick. So how is yeah? So I mean we're just very, very happy with him. Like he's performing great, and he's giving us like versatility. So yeah.
Was he someone that you were paying attention to when he was on the Challenger series or in your Challenger team? Like was he someone that you were like looking at a lot, or was he someone that you kind of only really were introduced to when he was officially on the team, on the main roster in Summer Split?
No, of course not. Of course, I knew of him.
Oh, yeah,
and then I saw him play with Scrimmed against their team, but I wasn't like hugely working with Academy. Like I was focusing on the LCS team.
LCS side, yeah.
But after MSI, like stuff happened, and we were like considering a swap in the mid lane, and then I did excessive scouting on him. And that's when I saw like that. Wow, this guy is very good. So I thought he was okay before that, and then I did excessive scouting, and he was very good. So from my scouting,
yeah, and I think a lot of fans or a lot of people would be pretty interested to hear like you had a ton of games with Inspired this series, playing a lot of Ivern. Obviously, it's a busted champion, but like having Inspired on a champion like that. Was the advantage for you guys trying to take advantage of like how much better pathing Inspired has, how much more of a better jungler he is overall in terms of how he navigates team fights, how he navigates clearing? Like, what was the strategy behind putting him on like a majority Ivern games, like against Blabber specifically, who is, you know, one of the, again, better junglers in the league?
Yeah. So the first thing is he is the leader of the team, and it's very important that he can visualize how he's going to win with his champion, because he's the one that's going to be making the calls in the game. So from a coaching perspective, it's very important that he knows what he's supposed to do to win, and he can see the path to victory in the draft. So with that being said, I just speak to him and suggest him things, and I bring basically I do some back work, like this is what this trade could look like, this is what this trade could look like. And then it's kind of, I'm leaving it a little bit like in the final, then I'm giving, okay, this option, this option, this option, which one do you think is better? And then if he will usually say okay, if you take this option, then I understand, I think we're gonna win, you know. So it's a little bit up to him as well. It's not like I tell him do you play Ivar now, you know. It's more like I suggest some things and I try to lay out what it's gonna look like, and then he more decides, and then other people have to adjust. So if he picks that, then Alan, for example, then I have some picks that he needs to play, so then the other people are more forced to pick around that. But we can also do other ways around. For example, in the last game, we played around other conditions, but yeah, that's just what it looked like. He knew he wanted to play that, so that's why.
Yeah. And it looked like you guys had a much better grasp of lane swaps this time around in this series, just over the last couple of weeks. I feel like you've been improving a lot. Was that something you guys were really hammering in during scrims? I felt like the way you executed lane swaps, how you dove, where you took advantages, who was catching waves, it felt a lot, I would say, a lot cleaner. Is that something that you kind of explicitly worked on in scrims without leaking too much of the, the secret sauce and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we're working on swaps. There's a lot of swaps and scrims from other teams as well. A lot of swaps going on right now in NA. I wasn't too happy with our game 3 swap. We kind of fucked up, honestly. So we did adjustments for the last game. And I think our swaps have been okay. We kind of try some little bit more crazier stuff, and it has backfired on us quite a few times. But now we're getting more the hang of it, I think, and we are all I like to think that we have a bit of a good understanding now, where we tried and failed, and we know what happens in many different situations. But yeah, I feel like we tried too much maybe, and we failed along the way. But now I think we are better now. Yeah.
Yeah. Looking ahead, obviously, to the TL series, what is probably some of the hardest, or one or two of the hardest things when it comes to prepping for TL as a team and facing off against them? And why do you think, obviously you faced off against them in spring finals, very similar situation, faced off against them twice. I'm hoping we can see more matches between you and them. What are some of the harder things to prep for a team like that coming into Team Liquid? Is it just their grasp of the meta, the way they're able to flex picks? Are their laners just very mechanically, fundamentally very sound? What are some of the things that you kind of focus in and hone in on when you're prepping for Team Liquid?
So I would say Team Liquid is a good team fighting team. That's where they kind of got us in the past. We also learned some team fighting from them. When I in spring we're struggling a bit with team fighting, and I used showing them their TL games, showing them some way to team fight. So I respect their team fighting, which I always ends up being very important in all series, right? There will never be a series without team fights. Other than that, their swaps are good, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for us. And yeah, so just the I guess the key is to not get out team fought, and also to don't make mistakes in swaps.
Well, Nukeduck, that was my final question. I think you guys have done a phenomenal job on the coaching staff to bring this team yet again to another winners finals and now a world's appearance as well. Do you have any shout outs to the fans? Anybody that you'd like to thank personally?
No, I would just like to shout out the staff. There's obviously Arrow and Miffy with me, and then there is Empire and Sig as well on the back end doing analyst work. They've been very helpful. And we also have Damonte, Tanner Damonte. He's also our performance coach. He also helps the guys perform their best. So yeah, just shout out to those guys.
Thank you so much, Nukeduck. Hey everybody, thanks for watching the video. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, leave a like, comment, do all that jazz. I genuinely try to respond to every single comment I see because it's always interesting to see the other opinions of people that care about League of Legends esports as much as I do. Obviously, the best way to support me is to hit that subscribe button and hit the bell for notifications on my latest uploads. If you want to see more of me and my content, I stream on Twitch 5 days a week. The link will be in the description box below. If you are into short form content, I'm also on TikTok. We talk about LPL, LCK, LEC, all the stuff over there. We talk about roster moves. So if your jam is short form content, head over to TikTok, hit the follow button there. I'm also on Twitter. So all of that stuff will be in the description box below. But other than that, thanks for watching the video and I hope to see you soon.